My first point here is you want to make sure that you choose a cause that really has meaning to you and is important to you.
You're listening to Thrive by Design, business, marketing, and lifestyle strategies for your jewelry brand to flourish and thrive. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Thrive by Design podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about philanthropy and how you can incorporate that into your business model. Now, from the beginning, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. We've had a lot of designers come to Flourish and Thrive who are really passionate about what they do. And in fact, a lot of them even started their businesses because they were so passionate about a certain cause and they were designing jewelry that really represented that cause so that they could give money back to whatever charity they were supporting or to some purpose or bigger issue that had meaning to them. You know, I can think of so many, like Jane Bartel was designing to give money back to ocean organizations because clean water and the oceans are really important to her. Or we've had several designers who are super devoted to SPCA causes and animal rights causes. So it runs the gamut, really. Like breast cancer, I think October is breast cancer month. A lot of designers are designing for breast cancer. And I even know that Robin has shared many stories about how Dog-Eared actually partnered with the Susan G. Komen Association to raise awareness and money for breast cancer. And she has some interesting stories about that as well from a different perspective. So, I mean, you name it, there's a cause, and we all have passion for causes that we believe in. So today I wanted to talk a little bit more about designing for a cause, incorporating philanthropy into your business model. Before I dive in, I really want to take a moment to take a word from our sponsor. I always love sharing words from our sponsors because the sponsors over here at Flourish and Thrive are awesome. They're also preferred vendors over at Flourish and Thrive. We love sharing businesses that are really supporting emerging designers. So today's podcast sponsor is NinaDesigns.com. Nina is a really wonderful company based out in California. And the reason why I love Nina so much, the owner, is also a jewelry designer, and she creates these beautiful jewelry designs, pendants, charms, you name it, great jewelry supplies and findings for wholesale jewelry designers who are trying to infuse unique designs into their work. They're also great suppliers of leather, of silk, tassels, tons of great stuff over there. So head on over to NinaDesigns.com, place your wholesale order, enter the code THRIVE at checkout, and Nina is so generously going to give you $10 off your order for the first time that you use it. So you can use that code once, enter the code THRIVE at checkout, and get $10 off your order. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to talk a little bit more about designing for a cause, incorporating philanthropy into your business. So I've talked a lot about this with designers, and there are so many who want to almost like partner with an organization. I've spoken with designers who have actually designed a specific piece of jewelry for an organization and basically donated their design time to actually raise money for the organization. I've met with other people who had charities actually order jewelry from them so that the charity could sell it and make money. So there's a lot of different ways that you can partner with organizations that are nonprofit or specific causes that you're passionate about to really raise money and awareness for your brand and also the charity, which I think is really amazing. So for me, I feel like I've been searching for the cause that I'm super passionate about, and I'm going to tell you something that I'm doing momentarily. But from the very beginning of starting my first business, Tracy Matthews Designs, I was asked by multiple different types of charities to donate items for silent auctions and also to help raise money for their fundraisers. And a couple that come to mind specifically are the Jenny Fund, which was an organization that was started by a group of my friends to raise money for a specific type of cancer awareness that their friend Jenny, who they went to college with, actually died from. And, you know, that cause really struck a chord with me because it was really close to home, and a lot of my friends were really close friends with this person. And even though I didn't know Jenny personally, it was really important for me to get involved with that cause. Closer to home level, you know, my uncle started a charity called the Mercy House in Santa Ana, California. My uncle is, believe it or not, a Catholic priest, and he is very passionate about giving back to the community. So he started shelters for battered women and shelters for men who are living with AIDS, and a couple of other subsection of the society in the area that he is really passionate about, which is Orange County, California, and developed this charity to help really basically as a conduit to help people in need from their transition from being homeless or in a really bad situation like a battered woman to sort of like integrate them back into real life. And that, I mean, obviously this was like a really important thing for me for a variety of reasons. I think primarily because my uncle started this charity and it was something that our family was really involved in. And while I haven't had fundraisers for that charity, I was highly involved in their silent auctions for many, many years when I still had a product line to donate to. So that was something that was really important to me, which brings me sort of to the first idea that I want to share with you today about incorporating philanthropy into your business or designing for a cause, is that you want to make sure that whatever philanthropy you're choosing is something that really has meaning to you, or else it just kind of will fall by the wayside. So I want to share with you something that I am working on right now. So as many of you know, I am in a mastermind group with a bunch of different types of entrepreneurs who are doing amazing things in the world. And my mastermind leader, Ryan, came to us one day when we were in our mastermind retreat and asked us if we wanted to build a school in Africa. And he shared with him his experience about meeting Stu McLaren of the World Teacher Aid Organization, and his experience also seeing Stu sort of grow as an entrepreneur, sell a business, and then have a significant wealth, and then decide to go on straight to consulting and start this nonprofit where 100% of the proceeds actually go to building these schools in Africa. So when Ryan was presenting this for me, it wasn't the first time I'd heard about World Teacher Aid, because my friend Gree had just built a school with Jeff Walker, who's another sort of internet marketing guru, I guess is the best way to say it, previously the year before, and I'd heard a lot about this experience from her. So when Ryan presented us with the idea, I was like, heck yeah. And then I like really was trying to evaluate why I was so excited about it. And I think like the primary reason why I was so excited about it is because education for me is something I'm really passionate about. I mean, if me starting Flourish and Thrive Academy isn't a perfect example of that, I think it's very important. And there are a lot of people in need who can't afford to go to a private school or afford or communities that can't afford to actually build schools all over the world and even locally. And I think about that with Flourish and Thrive. You know, there are many people in our community who digest all of our free content, and then there's others in our community who actually invest in our programs, and then there's others in our community who are actually so dedicated to advising and commitment that they join a high-level program like our mastermind program or entry-level community called the Diamond Insiders, where they can get monthly feedback from us. So, you know, education to me is something that I'm very passionate about, and I'm going to share a story with you here that I shared for the first time at our live event retreat. I might have shared it in the Diamond Insiders at one point too. But education is really important to me. In fact, I went to college. I was a pretty good student throughout my entire, history all the way through high school. A few ups and downs. I was passionate about art, and I had gone to a private university straight out of high school. Now, I sort of got caught up in a divorce battle, I guess you would say, with my parents. My parents had already been divorced, but the time came for me to sort of go to my junior year in college, and I got a call from my dad during that summer saying that he was no longer in the financial position to pay for my education. And if he wasn't going to pay half, my mom couldn't pay that other half. So I was stuck without going to university. Now, this sounds like a woe is me story. Yes, I went to a private university. It was very expensive. I could have gone to another school, but I'd already spent 2 years at the school, had really invested a lot of my time in relationships, and I really wanted to finish school there. And I'm very stubborn. So when there's a will, there's a way, and I wanted to find my way back to school. So I took some time off. I was really passionate about graduating from college because that's something that, to me, that really was a huge value of mine and was very important to me. So I started working full-time in retail. And also in restaurants. I was a hostess, a caller at the Cheesecake Factory, and also worked at Nordstrom and at small boutiques during this period of time. I ended up being out of school for about 2 years, and it was actually a really amazing experience for a lot of reasons, and I'll try not to go on too much of a tangent, but during that time I learned some incredible sales skills which have really served me well throughout my history as a entrepreneur and business owner of a product-based business. But additionally, during that time, I was working towards trying to save enough money to actually go back to school. Pretty hard. I wasn't making that much money. I was also living in LA, but I am very driven in the sense that I am, a creative problem solver and always trying to think about a way, like creative problem solves ways that I can sort of solve my own problems and other people's problems. So I was working towards that. One day I got a call from my mom, and she told me that she was going into the hospital for elective surgery. And a couple days later, she passed away from a blood clot. And it wasn't until that moment that I was actually able to go back to my university and say, look, my parent who had been, technically supporting me, even though she wasn't giving me any money, but that in the eyes of the school was supporting me, just passed away. Is there anything you could do to help me? And I was able to get some grants actually to go back to school. It paid for half my tuition. I got financial aid for the other half of my tuition. And for all my living expenses, I worked full time. So I worked my butt off when I went back to school. And the thing that's really amazing is that I knew that there was a reason that I needed to go back to Loyola Marymount. And when I went back to school, I changed majors. And the first, my major allowed me, my humanities major, allowed me to take fine arts classes as electives. And the first class that I took was a jewelry making class, which fast forward 25 years later, here I am today teaching you all about the business of jewelry, which is pretty crazy and pretty important to me in my life. That educational experience really set the tone for everything that happened after I turned basically 22 years old. And I believe in education so much, whether it be formal education or something else, that to me, giving back to educational causes is a strong value of mine. So when Ryan asked me to get involved in the World Teacher Organization and build a classroom, I couldn't say no. I didn't know how I was going to pay for that classroom. It was a big investment of $12,500 plus the travel expenses to get to the school to help build it. It works out to be about $16,000 plus my airfare, which is quite an investment to just come up with out of the blue. So I decided to start a fundraiser for my jewelry business. And I'm recording this podcast while I'm in the process of putting it together. So I'm hoping by the time that the podcast goes live, I will have had a successful fundraising venture, and I'm going to share more about that with you at that time. So my first point here is you want to make sure that you choose a cause that really has meaning to you and is important to you. Otherwise, I feel like the efforts will fall flat, and you're not going to resonate with an audience who, it's going to pick up or matter with, and I feel like that's a really important thing to think about. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about what I'm going to do to create a fundraiser for using my jewelry business as this fundraiser platform to raise money for the school in Africa. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about some more parameters that you should think about if you want to incorporate philanthropy into your business model. So I think something that's really important, I mentioned the story of Robin getting involved with the Susan G. Komen Association a while back and with Dog-Eared. And one of the things that she shared with us at our mastermind retreat was that, Dog-Eared actually got in a little bit of trouble. I mean, I'm using that just to keep the conversation slightly vague because I'm not exactly sure what happened. But they started this fundraiser with Susan G. Komen, and I think that they didn't properly go through the right channels to get approval to use the name. And they actually got in trouble for donating to the charity without becoming a verified vendor, when you think like, wouldn't anyone just want the charity? But I think it comes about because a lot of charitable organizations that have really big names, people raise money for them, but then don't end up donating the money. So obviously you want to be in integrity, and you want to be able to donate the money to the cause that you say that you're going to donate the money to. But on another level, I think it's really important because you want to make sure that you're choosing something that is actually going to get and use the money the most efficiently. So sometimes these big organizations, a lot of their money that filters through them is filtered through like sort of the administrative costs of running the charity. So a couple that I think they're great organizations. I'm not slamming them or anything like that. And we need these organizations literally in our world, our big breast cancer organizations, or maybe the American Heart Association, or other things like the Red Cross, where more local efforts, when a tragedy happens, might have more of an impact with the financial donation that comes to mind. So I think of this like when Sandy happened here in New York, Hurricane Sandy. My friends hosted a fundraiser because their hometown of Morford, New Jersey, I think I'm getting the town right, was literally washed away by Sandy, and a lot of people lost their homes, and they wanted to really help the local community. So they partnered with a local organization and had literally a cocktail hour. My friend Carrie works for Saks, and so she pulled in like all of her contacts and got like a bunch of designers like Zach Posen, and I'm going to get some of the names wrong, but like maybe Jill Sander and a couple of other people to donate products for a raffle. So they raised money through a raffle. They raised money for regular donations in order to raise money for this charity for their hometown. So the point here I'm trying to make is to think small and think more local. So good examples of this are like my uncle's charity, the Mercy House, or a local organization where you can really help. The thing that I love about World Teacher Aid is that 100% of the money that goes through that organization goes directly to the schools that they're building. They do not hire administrators. It's all based on volunteer time investment into building the schools. Stu McLaren and his wife are the primary administrators for that. They don't take a single dime from the charity. They are literally doing this from the bottom of their hearts to really help, because Stu's wife was in education before they started raising their children. So think about that. Like where's your money going to have the most impact? And it might be just in a local organization. So whatever it is that you are passionate about, try to find something local where the majority of the money or all of the money that you are investing goes directly to that charity. So I think it's really important. So I mentioned this a little bit before. When you're working with the bigger organization, you want to make sure that you get permission to use their name in your marketing, because you don't want to go down a path where you're getting sued or something, or don't go through the correct channels, and you're using like a charitable organization's name, and they get mad at you for using it, and they're like, hey, look, you can't use that to promote your product. So you want to make sure that there is a solid arrangement there and that you have permission to use their name. And then I think another parameter that you really want to think about is that you want to be crystal clear on what's being donated. Is it a portion of your profits? Is it a percentage of sales? Or is it something else? It could be a variety of things. It might be 100% of the proceeds, right? It could be everything that you earn from that. So you want to be crystal clear so that your audience who knows who's buying it, and also the charity that you're donating to, understand what that means and how much money is actually going to the charity. So I wanted to talk about some of the ideas that I'm going to be using to generate donation revenue for my charity, the World Teacher Organization, to help build this school in Africa, and some of the incentives that I'm going to be using for the people who actually donate. So I think it's going to be really fun. So I was sitting at dinner with a friend the other night, and I was telling her about this, and I was like, well, maybe I just like host a fundraiser, like whoever designed, like any custom jewelry that's designed within this period of time, all the money goes to that. But the problem with that is that there's so many variables in pricing custom jewelry that I don't really have control. So certain pieces might cost me, several $1,000s to make, and I have a low margin. And so that not as much money is going to be donated to charity. So I wanted to have a little bit more control over it. So we were sort of brainstorming how we could do this. So I decided to create several tiers of how to create this fundraiser. And I thought something that would be really fun would be to have a raffle. So basically, I want people to actually be able to get into the raffle. So I'm limiting the number per raffle pull that we're having. So I'm going to have up to 5 raffles of 15 tickets only in each raffle pull. So I'm going to be designing 2 different pairs of earrings, or I have them already designed, that will be part of this raffle. And you can buy a ticket in basically for $100 to be part of that raffle. Now, not everyone is going to want to buy into the $100 ticket price point. So I'm also going to do a $50 donation if they want to just donate and not be part of the raffle, if that's something that's interesting to them. But the raffle kind of will work like this. I'm going to, whoever wins the raffle can pick which pair of earrings. It will still be sort of like a custom process. I'm going to be doing a pair of pink, rose gold, white topaz earrings, and I'm going to be doing a pair of black diamond and gold earrings that they can select from. So I'm going to have 5 of these raffles, only 15 entries per raffle, and I'm going to pull one winner from each raffle. So depending on how many tickets you buy, you'll have that many entries into different raffles in order to win. I'm also going to be doing like a tiered approach. Buy buy $500 worth of raffle tickets and get 7 chances to win. So that helps spike up, like, if someone really wants to donate big, they can basically donate $500, get more raffle tickets, and then have a better chance of win. They basically would have a 50% chance of winning in that case. Then I'm going to have another tier where they can donate $1,000 and just basically win the raffle. They can buy the piece of the earrings or whatever, and it's like they're basically just be buying the earrings, and 100% of those proceeds will go to the charity. And then I have another level where they can pay $2,500 to $5,000 for a custom piece of jewelry to be made to their liking. 100% of the profits of that go to the World Teacher Organization. Still working out some of the details for the custom piece. I might have a specific type of ring or something like that I'm actually going to create and design. That's a little bit up in the air. I'm not sure if I'm going to leave it too loose, but I figure if someone's going into that higher tier, I'll work with them to create it. So I'm creating all these different tiers. It's sort of like my own little Kickstarter campaign to try and raise money for this. But I thought it would be an interesting way to sort of see what kind of results I would get, and also allow the people who do donate to actually get the opportunity to have a piece of my jewelry that they are going to love and cherish and wear all the time. So I'm going to do a couple of things to promote this. So I'm going to create a video sharing my story. So I think that's really, really important. I'm going to share my story probably a little bit more in depth about why education is so important to me and why this organization is something that I really believe in. Anyone who donates over the $1,000, or anyone who donates over the $100 level will be able to literally have their name on the plaque in the classroom. So I'm going to be talking about that in the promotion, and that will get people excited because they're going to really know that they were involved in building this classroom. And then I'm also going to create a recap after I go to Africa and share that with all the winners, or with all the donators, so that they can see what happened in the classroom and literally like see their school that they helped me build, or helped us all build in Elite Mastermind. So I'm really excited about that. I'm also going to be doing an epic blog post sort of explaining all of this. So I'll have something on our blog that's sort of an epic long blog post, and I'm going to start driving traffic to there with ads, with social media, with share with a friend type of things, because I feel like the referral aspect of this is really going to be the thing that is going to drive the fundraising in this, because I have a big fee. I have to raise about $16,000 in order to build the school. So that's going to be fun. Or $12,500 for the classroom and another $4,000 in order to get there to actually build the school. So I'm trying to fundraise all of it. And then I'm also going to be like passing this along to my personal network, because I think, my mailing list has a certain number of people on it for my jewelry business. And, I mail them every so often, probably not as much as I should. So I want to really like pass this along to my personal network. So I'm going to do a viral marketing campaign and really ask my friends and family to promote it big time so that I can get the most people involved. And then I'm going to be creating a form of scarcity. So I'm going to have some sort of ticker or something on, this is my plan for now, ticker or something on that blog post so people can see like how many opportunities to opt in they have to actually fundraise the money. So if I get to a point where like we've raised all the money, it's going to stop and no one else will have the opportunity to actually opt in. So that creates a sense of scarcity and excitement around it for people to want to donate now. So I'm really, really excited about that. I can't wait to see how it goes. And I'm interested to see sort of the progress, and I can't wait to sort of report back. So I'm really curious about some other things that people have done to actually raise money for a certain charity. I've done a couple of fundraisers, but I think one of the things that works really well when you're trying to raise money is that maybe it's something that's always happening, or you create some sort of time-sensitive offer where you have a piece of jewelry that if they buy it and within a certain period of time, that the money from that piece actually goes to charity. For me, that form of scarcity or time sensitivity maybe is a better word. works really well because then people don't procrastinate and say, oh, I'll buy it next month or something like that. So think about that in your philanthropy sort of positioning when you're thinking about doing this. So in addition to time-sensitive offers, there's a couple of other ideas that you can do to actually create excitement about your charity. You might design a specific piece for your charitable cause or purpose that is, unique to that, and every proceed from that specific piece goes only to that charity. That's a great way to do it. You can also donate to silent auctions for events that are coming up that the charity is hosting. I've done this multiple times in my career, donate pieces to silent auctions. I've also donated gift certificates for custom work to silent auctions so people can buy into that. So there's lots of different things that you can do as far as that goes. And then, I've heard of other designers doing this, and I briefly mentioned it earlier, is you can actually literally partner with a charity, design a piece together, and have them help you promote it as part of their marketing plan. So there's a lot of different ways that you can get involved and a lot of interesting ways to make raising money for your favorite charity awesome. So on a final note, obviously we all want to live in integrity, and you want to make sure that when you're raising the money for the charity that you actually send the money and write them a check to the charity, because I know how it could be easy to just get caught up in day-to-day life and forget to send that check or for whatever reason. But make sure that if you're raising money for charity that you're really in integrity and you're actually doing it and doing it well. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you want to learn any more about the World Teacher Organization or the fundraising efforts that I'm doing for my jewelry business and the opportunities you have to donate for Flourish and Thrive, we're going to be having a couple of special opportunities for you to help build a classroom with me for World Teacher Aid. So you can follow the link flourishthriveacademy.com/World Teacher Aid, and you can learn a little bit more about donating and some special opportunities that we're offering over here at Flourish and Thrive Academy to help build the school in Africa with the World Teacher Aid organization. So check that out over at flourishthriveacademy.com/World Teacher Aid. That's flourishthriveacademy.com/World Teacher Aid. All right. Well, thanks so much for listening today. This was a super fun episode for me because I like sharing experiences and literally like workshopping things with you guys while we're going. So it's super fun for me to do this. So thanks for listening. And, I'd really love to hear from you how you're enjoying the podcast. So if you haven't given us a rating or review yet, I would love to hear from you. Head on over to flourishthriveacademy.com/iTunes, and you can rate and review the show. Thanks so much for listening today. As always, it's a pleasure to be here. This is Tracy Matthews signing off. Until next time.